Hello YouTube, this is Jackson.
Hello.
We've never done a collab together.
Oh yeah, I guess we haven't.
Well,
we did like a minute ago.
Well, okay, yeah, actually, at the end of this video, I'll link to the other collab we just did, which is on the HPA's channel. Today, on my channel, we're gonna talk about fanfiction.
Heck yeah.
So I found a tag, the fanfiction tag. I'll put a
Cool.
link down below to the original one. I don't even know if it's recent, I just found it. Do you read or write fanfiction, and why?
I do read fan fiction. I don't know, I always go through phases of like how much I read it at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not really in a fan fiction phase right now, but definitely read it, and I've not super written it.
I read a lot when I was younger, and I wrote a lot. Now, every once in a while, I'll feel nostalgic, and I'll go back and reread a fanfic that I loved when I was younger.
I've got a couple I've done that with.
I don't do a lot of exploratory, like, new fanfiction finding lately.
Yeah.
But, oh my god, it, like, consumed my late middle school, early high school.
Same.
Yeah.
Same age.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads me to the next question, which is, how and when did you discover fanfiction, and how old were you?
So, the night that I saw Prisoner of Azkaban at midnight, I just watched that and was like, Remus and Sirius are clearly in love, and I just needed to rewrite it, and I like went home and I stayed up all night and I rewrote those couple of chapters like word for word. I had no idea what fanfiction was.
You just did it.
I just did it.
That's
and
awesome.
then I was like, I was like going to MuggleNet every day, and they had like that essay section on their website, and I was like, maybe I'll post this as like an essay. And while I was trying to figure out how to do that, I like accidentally clicked a fanfiction button.
Oh.
And was like, oh, this thing that I did already exists. Everyone's doing it. Wait, but this means I have all these stories I can read.
Yes.
This is great.
I actually discovered fanfiction through Sailor Moon.
Whoa!
I know, it's weird, right? So in 6th grade, when I was 11 years old, it was funny. My friend had this Sailor Moon fanfiction that she loved, that is terrible, by the way, because I reread it recently. She like printed it out and like handed it to me in like a stack of paper. So the first time I read fanfiction, it was like a physical thing.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. People like write stories about this show that I love, because Sailor Moon was only ever something that I consumed on television, and so the fact that I could read it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I went online, and we got so little of the Sailor Moon universe here in the United States that when I tried to read more Sailor Moon fanfiction, I kept getting confused because it had characters that I didn't know and like plot lines that I wasn't aware of. So I was like, okay, well, like, what else am I into? And so I was just like looking on fanfiction.net. I like tried a couple other things, and then I was like, oh, well, I read Harry Potter recently. And so then I like started reading some Harry Potter fanfiction, and then I like never touched any other fanfiction ever again. It was all Harry Potter, because I was like, oh yeah, no, this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
So it was a big portion of my formative years.
Oh yeah, me too. Like those early years of high school, I mean, it was like all I read. I would just go home from school every day and just like read fanfiction all day.
Yeah. When I was really needing fanfiction was when all I wanted was Harry Potter and we didn't have more.
Yeah.
And so I went online to get more. I was like,
Yeah.
well, other people are going to write it, so I'm going to read it, which is actually what kind of stopped me reading books for a while, because I was like, I love Harry Potter, I love reading Harry Potter, like, I don't want to read other books, so I'm just going to read fanfiction. And for like many years, it actually stopped me from reading new books.
Yeah, me too. I totally had that problem. I had to
Yeah.
be like, okay, I'm not gonna read any more fanfiction until I like finish this book or
Yeah,
something.
it was actually like when I started getting involved in YouTube, and I actually started reading like John Green and Maureen Johnson books, that I was like, okay, there's other books out here. I need to read some of them, and then I can go back to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Which fandoms do you enjoy reading and writing? I like that it says Harry Potter, etc. It knows.
Yeah, it totally knows.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Harry Potter was first for me, and then it was really just like, I think it was only Harry Potter throughout high school. But then kind of like in college, out of college, I got into Doctor Who, but especially Torchwood fanfiction.
Interesting.
A huge Jack Yonto shipper over here. Had to read, I've probably read almost every like Jack Yonto fanfiction out there. I was really into that. Then I got into Glee fanfiction for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I was
that's
actually
cool.
like big into Glee. I used to make Glee review videos. It's
Okay.
like this thing, I've deleted most of them.
I feel like the only fanfiction that I ever really pursued was when the content itself was not giving me what I needed out of it. And so
yeah.
I looked online for someone
Exactly.
who would. When certain popular media like was afraid to make like controversial stuff, we would just go online and other people would do it for them.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why, you know, Harry Potter, we needed the books faster than we were getting them.
Yep.
And that's why like Draco Harry fanfiction was like so popular, because
Yeah.
we all knew that was never going to happen, but like wouldn't it be great if it did?
Yeah.
I even remember I like went and read like Lizzie McGuire fanfiction for a while, because I was like, I need more of this Lizzie Gordo action than this show is giving me.
That's great.
I feel like so often people turn to fanfiction when they need like bolder work than is actually being created.
Well, and I've heard from so many people, and I mean, I had this experience myself of like, you're not seeing yourself represented in media, and so fan fiction is the first place that so many people in our generation like saw themselves reflected back in stories.
Totally.
But also where so many of us like learned about other people. Like I read a ton of like deaf and mute stories, the Glee fan, and it was like you know, written by people who are hard of hearing, and like it was very representative and very educational.
You know, honestly, like, I feel like fan fiction helped shape me as a writer, because I always liked writing books. Like, even as a kid, I was always, like, scribbling stuff, but it wasn't until I started putting stuff up on fanfiction.net and having, like, other, like, dumb 15-year-olds who didn't understand that my writing at the time was terrible tell me that my writing was good, made me feel like I could write something that people would want to read, you know, because it encouraged me to go on and do NaNoWriMo. I probably would have never found out about that if I hadn't been in the fan fiction community, because I found out about it from like another fanfic author. It kept me writing in middle school. Like, even if the stuff I wrote was terrible, the stuff everyone writes at first is terrible.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how I think unless you're like a prodigy at something, like any skill that you want to pick up, any like talent, like even if you are talented, like raw talent, you have to work at it.
Yeah. Okay. Who are your OTPs?
I mean, Harry Potter, Remus and Sirius, my number one.
Yeah.
Always. Bisexual Remus Lupin. Like, I'm not saying he wasn't, like, in love with Tonks. He totally was.
Yeah.
But he was also in love with Sirius.
Yeah.
And then Jack and Yanto, Blaine and Kurtz.
I was so into Draco Ginny as a kid. I don't know. So, one, I was always attracted to stories where people, like, start out hating each other and then, like, find like a middle ground and like really sort of learn to appreciate each other. And I think that there's a lot of things about Draco and Ginny that kind of make sense. I mean, if you think about it from like them being young, like what would make the Weasley boys more upset than Draco dating their younger sister?
Oh yeah.
And then also Ginny had this whole thing with Tom Riddle and like this boy paying attention to her and like a little bit of like seduction to the dark side, you know? And so like what would make her brothers more upset than dating Draco Malfoy? So, like, I saw, like, I didn't necessarily see it as, like, they're destined to be together, but I thought just, like, the fact that they would date.
Yeah.
And then, like, maybe even just to piss off other people, or, like, you know, Ginny's like, Harry's not paying attention to me, so I'm gonna go date Draco.
Yeah.
Like, that made sense to me, and then I could actually see them, like, I felt like Draco, all he needed was a push in the right direction to be a better person, and he never got it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Ginny really wanted to sort of like make her own way. And so I really saw that was something that they could maybe help each other with.
No, I can see it.
And I actually really and truly believe that there might be something in the books about it, and there never was, and I was really upset.
Oh, you know another one though? Percy Oliver. Sorry, all of mine are just like dudes together. That
is fine. So I haven't actually read any fan fiction about this ship, and now that I'm thinking about it, I like totally should. But I am obsessed with like fan art of Princess Bubblegum and Marceline.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because my boyfriend's like, do you need to tell me something? Like, my wall is like covered in Bubblegum and Marceline art. I'm so obsessed with the idea of them together. I love it, and like aesthetically they look really great together. Like, I just love it so much.
Oh man, they do aesthetically look great together.
Yeah. Well, we skipped a couple questions, but that's okay. It was a long tag. Yeah. But thank you so much for reminiscing about fanfic days with me. And yeah, you should go check out the video that we talked about earlier over on the HPA channel. I'll put a link down below. And we're gonna go back and hang out at VidCon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.